I've struggled for a very long time with the concept of friendship. What really constitutes a friend? At what moment does someone stop being just someone you know and steps into that friendship territory? I struggle with this because I'm not sure if my standards are just way too high or if most other people just have their standards way lower than it should be. If I go by the standard that I see most other people go by, well, I have tons of friends. I have friends all over the place. But as it stands, in my opinion, I only have 2 friends. This is of course without counting family and the Holy Spirit. Family doesn't count because, well, there's a unique bond there and other factors involved, and I do consider some family members friends, but for this discussion it would just complicate things. The Holy Spirit, my true best friend, well, he's got all those factors of family plus more, so let's not talk about that. Let's keep this as simple as possible. So out of all the people I've met, talked with, spent hours, days, months, years with, I have 2 friends. I have avoided addressing this concern, this struggle, because most of the people that I know are not those 2 people, and if they see this video they might get offended, or even worse, what if they don't even care? On the flip side, what if those 2 friends see this video and they don't even realize they're the 2 friends I'm talking about? Because see, I do consider them friends, but we don't actually talk that often. Sometimes weeks or even months may pass before we actually have a real conversation. I just realized how sad this all sounds. But again, keep in mind, I do have all those people that regular human beings consider friends. I just don't label them that. They're people I know, acquaintances, people I can hang out with, although maybe if they watch this video, not so much anymore. Let's get into the actual standards, shall we? What I see is that most people call someone a friend based on the regularity that they speak to this person, unless of course they actually dislike this person or they see this person as in a league outside of their own, either above or below. Putting myself in that position, if I talk with you even weekly, you are my friend. Unless of course I don't like you, in that case you're just someone I have to talk to weekly. For the league thing, to give an example, let's say you're the boss of a company and you have to talk to your employees daily. It's hard to see them as friends even though you talk to them all the time. Or for example, people who go to a church and they talk to their pastor regularly, it's still hard to see him as a friend because people usually see them as higher, as in a higher league, so to speak. And I'm talking about normal people here. It's hard for me to see most people as friends. I'm not going to go into more detail about their regular friendship standard because you most likely have it, and if you don't, you've probably pondered a lot about it like me. Because to me a friend is so much more, but just like love, the word has been so overused that it has lost so much importance in our society. What is my crazy standard of friendship? For there to be a friendship, there must be mutual care and interest for each other. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It sounds simple, but when feelings are involved, nothing is ever simple. So for me to consider you a friend, I must care about you. I selflessly want good for your life, but also I have to feel like you feel that way about me as well. I've had many people who I've cared about who didn't really care about me, so I don't consider them friends. Caring is one thing though, because you might care a lot about someone, but you still might not necessarily want to be a part of their life. You can see this especially when you're sick. The sicker you are, the more calls or even visits you will get, but once you're fine, the calls stop and the visits also stop, and those people, they're gone. Because some of them, not all of them, but some of them do care, but still they don't want to talk to you frequently. They don't want to listen to your thoughts. They don't feel it in their hearts to share their thoughts with you. When I mentioned caring and being interested in each other, you probably thought, oh, caring is the most important one of those two. And I guess it probably is more important, but caring is just easier. I care about so many people. If I see a homeless guy, I immediately care. I want to help him out. I want him to get a job. I want him to succeed in life to the best of his ability, or even more. But am I interested in actually being there for him, in talking to him on a daily basis? If I'm honest, not really. I mean, the interest could grow over time, but it's just harder. On top of that, the interest must be mutual. I've been interested in being a part of a lot of people's lives who just didn't want to be a part of my life, and after a while you just accept that lack of interest and move on. But I do admit there are people who show interest in me, and I'm just not interested in being a part of their life. Usually it's because they're in a very different path with very different values and desires, and I can care a lot about them, but I just can't see myself being a part of their life. The truth is, there are many people out there who care about you. They're just not interested enough to show you they care. Those people, even if I care about them as well, and I often do, I don't consider them friends. And that's where I struggle. Am I being too harsh? Should I consider more people friends? I mean, even if I wanted to, I can't. It's just how I feel. The best I can do is pretend, which is kind of what I do in order to avoid this discussion, in order to avoid having to say, oh, I like you, you're really cool, I like you so much, but I just can't really call you friend. I guess the basis is a fear that if I let my not friends know that I don't consider them to be friends, that they'll lose the little interest they do have, or even stop caring altogether. Because not considering someone a friend doesn't mean I don't care. I very much do, and they still very much can hurt me. It sounds a bit silly when I say it out loud, but it makes sense if you live in my head. There is one more factor to the who do I consider a friend system. From what I see, many people work with the system of once a friend, always a friend, unless there was obvious betrayal or there was a definite rupture of the friendship. But for me, a friendship is a plant that two people have to take care of. If there is mutual interest and care there, but over time one or the two friends starts caring less or losing interest, the plant is gonna get weaker and it can die. Friendship isn't like family. There's no blood bond that always connects you. It's not a marriage. You didn't sign a covenant saying that you'd always be a friend. You simply have to be a friend. If we were best friends at one point, doing everything together, making plans for the future, you know, just being really tight, but we don't even speak now, then no! We're not friends. I may still call you a friend because calling you anything else would feel weird simply out of habit, and it's also good to avoid awkward situations, but the friendship is dead. Partly your fault, partly my fault. It doesn't matter who's to blame now. It's dead. This is immensely long and I don't know who's actually gonna sit through this, but I just wanted to explain myself as well as possible because this does make me sound a bit like a douche. But it's not that I don't want to call people I know my friends. It's just that I feel that it must take more than just being there to earn that title. And since we're being so honest, there are many people who call me a friend and it just doesn't feel special because they have that other lower standard. On the other hand, if everyone had my standard for who to call a friend, I'm not sure that anybody would consider me a friend. So I guess it does make sense to have lower standards. It can be the difference in having 100 friends and having none. But it's just the way that I'm wired. With all that said, I would rather have one friend who meets my standard than 100 friends who don't.